Welcome to Stay Paid, your number one sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you learn how to close more deals, keep more clients, and build the freedom you're working for. But that can only happen if you're willing to take action today. My name is Josh Stike, Chief Marketing Officer at Reminder Media, and as always, joined by Luke Akery, President of Reminder Media. And returning to the pod is Matt Halloran. Matt is the co-founder and Chief Relationship Officer at ProudMouth, the world's leading influence accelerator for financial advisors, a highly sought-after speaker and podcast vet. Matt has appeared on over 1,000 shows and delivered hundreds of speeches, as well as hosting ProudMouth's Top Advisor Marketing Podcast. Matt, welcome back to Stay Paid.
Hey, it's so glad. It's been a long time, man. I'm super happy to be back.
Dude, it has been a long time. We had you on early on in the show. Yeah, you've been, an awesome partnership relationship for us. You missed something in his intro, though. You didn't call him a hippie, dude.
Hippie dippy.
Yeah, he's a hippie dippy. He's about to do a TED Talk all on some feel-good stuff that actually is very, very important. We'll get into that in a little bit. I want to, kind of title this podcast, The Truth Behind Podcast. Are they worth it? Right? Because we're talking to the guy that's done 10,000 plus episodes, has been on every show, helps people do podcasts. And I would just like to dive right in, knowing what you know now, Matt, in the years you've been doing it. What have you seen? Is it worth it? Is it only worth it for top producers who have a brand? Like, what's your just gut raw take? And then let's get into like the maybe details of what you're seeing numbers wise with these things.
So the big thing that we've learned is it just takes longer than anybody wants it to take, right? So when you're building a social proof foundation, which podcasting can really help you with, you got to be in it for the long term. We work with financial planners and financial advisors who are always saying, stop looking at what's happening today.
You mean they're telling people to do something they're not doing? Oh, man.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. We probably just lost a bunch of people with that comment there. But honestly, it's the same thing with this. This content marketing strategy, what we call the social proof influence acceleration, is something that you got to commit to. This is going to be part of your marketing for the rest of your career, because it's not just about bringing in new business. It's also about great client communication that's portable and convenient. And also it actually helps with referrals, which we can dive into all of that. And
how long is long? Like, is it like you just said, you got to be in for the long haul, but then you said for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So like, is there an in-between there? Like, is it, you find it for us, what do I normally say? I usually say Stay Paid took 3 years.
Yeah.
We were doing it before Andy Day Carter came on.
It did. It took until about 2020.
Yeah. It took about 3 years to get some traction.
Yeah.
And that was tough, right? But we kept going. And I actually share that in talks that I give, is that, wow, I didn't realize that one of Josh and I's skill sets is that we just don't quit. Like, we just keep going even when
we're too dumb to quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
Or too egotistical, and we thought it was good when it really wasn't. And we finally did it long enough to get good. But do you see that? Is it normally 3 years before people? What do you see?
And in fact, one of the reasons why it took you 3 years and it took us about the same amount of time was because we didn't have all of the systems in place. We didn't have all of the other collateral that we really needed. But I need to address something really quickly. My old mentor used to say his favorite thing about the most successful people was persistency. Persistence mixed with stupidity is equals success. And so I absolutely love that. So we're all there, right? So Kirk and I started podcasting right around the same time you guys did. And it was a grind. So when you have a system, and this is going to be wildly self-promoting, so just be prepared for that. When you actually have a system that we've worked on over the last 8 years to build, we accelerate it. So you're really looking at 9 to 12 months before you start seeing real traction with your show using a system. Now, you and I, when we didn't have the damn system. We just didn't. We were just like, yep, we're going out there. We're going to ask everybody to share it.
We were like, who do we interview? And I was like, let's interview our insurance agent. Let's interview our employees.
Yeah. And we did the same thing. But when you do, and we have 9 podcasts, Growth Tactics and 7 Rocket Boosters of Influence. I mean, we've got all of these different systems now that we know when you plug in and you use these things, you're going to accelerate your influence.
Are most of the systems like ways to promote, essentially ways to get out in front of an audience? It'd be interesting. Let's get into that in just a second. Yeah. When you think about that 9 to 12 months, it takes about that and you see traction. Can you give me some idea of what that traction means? Like how many downloads or views or maybe you start seeing that the connections of the people you interviewed turn into something? Like what is that measurement stick? And obviously everybody's going to be a little different, but do you have any benchmark you can give us?
We do. And so a lot of it really is vanity metrics, unfortunately. And you guys have fallen prey to this as we have. We want as many people listen to the damn show as we possibly can.
Yep.
But you have to look at the bigger picture. So most of our clients, right, and most of the people that we work with here at ProudMouth have anywhere from 150 to 400 clients, right? So so that's really your baseline of client households that most advisors who are successful have in their business with junior advisors or whatever other reps. If you're hitting those numbers and if you're getting that level of adoption right out of so you take your client households, right? That's your baseline.
Okay.
So if you have 100 client households, you get 100 listeners, dude, you're killing it. Like fast, you're killing it.
That's a great benchmark. Yeah, I love knowing that. That is actually really good.
It's just frustrating because, you know, I was on a call a couple of days ago and the guy's like, man, I want to be the next Joe Rogan. I was like, okay, well, I'm not the right system for you. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not going to make you Joe Rogan. First off, you're not Joe Rogan, right? You haven't been doing, well, and they don't have they don't have the personality, they don't have the national network, and they also don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars behind the show, right? So anyway, baseline. So client households is really the baseline. Now, when you hit 9 to 12 months, really what you're going to start seeing is those numbers steadily increasing over time.
Okay.
And that is wildly proportionate to your niche, to your existing network outside of your client households, and also your centers of influence. Where we really start seeing numbers, this is Stay Paid Podcast. How do you get paid? There's two ways. One is the OPP strategy, other people's podcasts. And the other one is having a very firm guest strategy. So bringing on your centers of influence and interviewing them, but their price of admission, this is super important. The price of admission to come on your show is that you're going to share that, they're going to share that show with their audience. So your CPAs, your estate planning attorneys, your insurance agents or whatever, divorce attorneys, real estate agents, you get them to come on the show. But if they don't share the show, you basically put them on blast. That's how we grew ProudMouth.
Yeah, that's super smart. Yep.
Was bringing on people like you, Luke. I mean, you were one of our first guests on our show.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah.
It was rough back
then. No,
you're
brother, spot on. Like the
uphill from there.
Biggest thing for Stay Paid has not been the audience as much as it's been. I guess maybe now it's the audience, but it was the guest. It was the ability to get the Tom Ferry on, who's the #1 coach in real estate, or Cody Askins in the insurance industry, and network with them, which led us to sponsorships and speaking on stages and all this other stuff. And then now we actually, I shouldn't even say now because we haven't been the best at it. And I would love to pick your brain on this. We haven't ever been able to build a tribe really well. And I think it's maybe because Josh and I are too much teaching at people instead of learning with people through our show. But I'm not sure if it's accurate or not. This is just our reflection point. It's like, maybe we don't share enough personal information that gets people to actually love Luke and Josh and want to be a part of it. I think we do have, what you would quote unquote say listener fans. We have gotten some fan mail before.
Shout out to the fans. We have
fans
exactly.
But the point being is like, we haven't created like a tribe that we should have. Have you found that you've been able to create a tribe?
Meaning like our YouTube videos don't get a ton of comments. We don't.
That's what I mean. Like engagement. Sorry, I'm phrasing it probably wrong. It's like the engagement we don't get a ton of. And that's a sign to me that you're educating people and they love it, but they don't feel connected to you.
Right. So we have something called the 4-to-1 rule, which is vitally important in all of your content creation, which is this. For every 4 professional posts, you have to have 1 that's very personal. Now, you get as personal as you want. And I'm going to use my partner, Kirk Lowe, because I love this story. So, Kirk and I have been in business together for 8 years. And his #1 performing post on LinkedIn still to this day is a fuzzy picture of him with his family down by a lake.
Yeah.
And it was just, hey, I'm just spending some time with my kids. We love hiking and, nature and all of the stuff. And it was the first time, because Kirk's a very, very private person. It was the first time that he really kind of, lifted the hood so you could see the engine of what makes that man tick. And you guys need to do that too. You guys, I want to feel a genuine connection. What do we have in common? When we know what we have in common, then the probability of me commenting on those things and saying, God, Luke, I love that too. Dude, that's a great, you get that comment on YouTube or whatever. That's a wonderful comment. Same thing with you, Josh. Josh, here's another one. I never knew that about you. Guys, that's the sort of stuff that you want. That's that audience engagement.
That's
and
such a great way to think about it. Yeah, it's such a good way.
A lot of advisors, a lot of financial services professionals, or what we focus on, which is just people who sell their expertise for a living, they don't do that because they're like stoic and they don't think anybody wants to know. No, everybody wants to know what makes you tick. And that's where the real connections lie.
Yeah. And I think it's always the fear. We have it too. And we've gotten better at it over the years, but it's the fear of like, I serve so many clients within Reminder Media, and you're trying to not be controversial in a bad way. You want to be controversial in a good way. But the things that I tend to be interested in tend to be controversial in a bad way: politics, religion, money.
Right.
Like those are the things that I'm interested in. Like if you find Luke Akery, obviously, my family is, first, or I would say faith, family, and, so forth. But it's like, talk about those things. But I'm getting more and more comfortable. And I say comfortable is the wrong word. More and more just like, you know what? You just got to be you. And whatever happens, happens, because this is what you truly believe and what you truly think. Have you found that most of your shows where people talk about the things that do turn off other people are more popular? Yeah.
So when you're trying to create a cult-like brand, right, you have to understand that you're going to repel as many people as you attract, but you're going to be attracting people who become raving fans.
Yeah. And that's my problem. I don't think we repel people. Sorry to cut you off there, but I think that's our problem. I don't think... Let us know in the comments if we've repelled you before, but you're probably not listening to this.
Probably not hearing it.
Yeah, they're probably not hearing it. I don't think we repel a lot of people. That's our problem. Like we're too, it's like, I think that's what it is. But anyways, keep going. I cut you off. Sorry.
Well, but that's really powerful. So the guy who rebranded us to ProudMouth, because we started off as Top Advisor Marketing. And in fact, that's when you were on the show. That's how long ago it was. So we hired this guy named Rob Howard, and you can't get to Rob Howard. You can't like Google the guy. He doesn't show up. He's like this savant when it comes to branding. One of the things, he wrote a book called Fix: How to Create a Cult-Like Brand. And that's a huge component of how you do that.
I need to read that. Yeah.
You should. It is one of my favorite business books I've ever written, next to Dr. Robert Cialdini's Ethical Influence. It's a sales book, which is the best sales book I've ever read in my life. And I use it in sales every day, all day. But you guys have a couple of things going for you. So as much as I would love to just beat you up for the next half an hour,
please do.
The name of the show and the consistency of the show is one of the reasons you guys have been so successful. I mean, who is not going to want to click on a podcast called Stay Paid, right? I mean, this is brilliant marketing. Josh, I'm sure that was all you. Congratulations, brother. That was freaking brilliant.
We got to give the original host.
Sefton.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know Sefton came up with the name.
I think so.
I think Josh deserves a little credit, but Sefton, wherever you're at, we love you, bro.
Yeah. In the brand of the show is vitally important because people really connect with the brand, and the brand is all of the language surrounding it, not just the logo, not just the tagline, not just the image. And our clients who are the most successful are trying to actively not please everybody. And one of the things that we like to talk about a lot is you're never going to outspend Ken Fisher. So when you're trying to go after the general retirement marketplace, you're screwed. I'm sorry. It's just so competitive. It's so expensive to get those people's attention. Yeah. When you have that hyper-focused niche like we do, we work with independent financial advisors who are an RIA. Is my ideal client, to be fully transparent. Now, can we help other people? Hell yeah, we can. But if you're going to give me the right people, that's who I want.
Yes.
Don't have to worry about compliance as much. They generally are already successful. They have the freedom and they have a niche. And God, if I could drive one point home to every single solitary human being, is stop trying to please everybody, piss some people off, and be okay with it.
Oh, so well said, man. Yeah, that is so well said, because that is ultimately what attracts people, like we've been talking about, but also, even more importantly, it's what actually makes you live a fulfilled life. Like you actually are comfortable. And that's the main thing that I'm learning, is going, wow, let your shoulders down a little bit. Like let your breath out. Stop trying to please everybody. Not because about the authenticity of your content. That's just an added benefit because of the actual quality of your life. And it's like, wow, that is what I am really focused on for myself right now. All right. So I would love to get into a little bit of why you're doing the TED Talk.
Yeah.
And that kind of plays into promotion, right? And TED Talk is a great way to spread your brand.
Mhm.
And then maybe we can talk about, I think you called it 9 systems, of
Yeah.
promotion. Maybe you can give us one or two of those.
Sure.
But why the TED Talk, man? Why are you spending time, energy, and money to do that?
So we test everything here first. And I'm a client of ProudMouth. So this is a really important concept. And Josh and I will be able to go ahead and agree with this. I'm not just the president. I'm also, part of Bosley's Hair Club for Men. So we really,
for those listening, just so you know, he took off his hat and showed that he was bald. So he was building some commonality.
Commonality with Josh. So the 9 podcast growth tactics that we've built, right, are in an order for a specific reason. And podcast growth tactic is number 6. Number 6 is to write a book. So I wrote a new book. It's called Shut the F Up and Listen. It's a communication and sales book. It basically tells you that you're going to be able to close more business and you're going to be more successful if you just learn how to shut up and stop talking so much. I break down all types of listening. It's not active listening. It's called engaged listening. So that was podcast growth tactic number 6. Number 7 was me getting on other people's podcasts. We call it the OPP strategy. I use a system that's called podcastguests.com, which is it costs $50 a month. And I get an email every week saying, these are people who are looking for guests like you.
Wow.
And now I do have to say that some of the podcasts are rough. Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say, we tried that for a little bit and maybe something worth looking into? Like, how has that worked? Have you found like connections through that? Like,
so out of the 15 to 20 I've done, 5 were really good.
Okay. All right.
Okay. That's actually not bad conversion, honestly.
No, not at all.
It's a lot of time, though, if a podcast is 30 minutes to an hour. So you are committing a ton of time there.
Yeah, it's very transparent, though, to see who's actually in this as a expert or a professional and who's just phoning it in. Yeah. And so the other 15, they were just basically phoning it in. They were just trying to get guests and content so that they could feed their ego. Yep. But the 5 were really, really good. Like, they were prepared. They had a system. They knew exactly what they wanted from me. They prepped me with some questions, even though I don't generally need that. It was just absolutely wonderful. So anyway, that's podcast growth number 7. Podcast number 8 is when you really start speaking more and more. So you start making your not really personal brand, but you really start getting out there more. And so I hired a speaker's agent, right? So I'm working with Mary Carlson, she runs a financial behavioral keynote group. She does all of the paperwork and helps me negotiate all my contracts. I've gotten more paid speaking gigs this year than I've ever gotten in my whole career, honestly. And then I am not a person who deals with good. I'm always striving for great. Drive some people crazy because I'm always trying to get better and better. And I had one goal, guys, this year, one goal in 2025, and that was to get a TED Talk. And I researched it for months and months and months and months. This agency, this coach, here's the, YouTube tutorials on how to fill out the applications. And it was just too much. And so I have a pretty large network. I've been working really, really hard at building this network and actually becoming more influential. And the book came out. I was on all of these OPPs. I was just voted actually the 10th most influential person in financial services by Indigo Marketing, which was all by design, right? Through following the steps that we built here at ProudMouth for our clients. So I was talking to a friend of mine. This is a long story, I'm sorry, but I was talking to a friend of mine who is a coach that works with business professionals who sell their business for like 8-9 figures, and they go through a massive existential crisis. So this guy's like super wicked specialized. His name is Jerome Myers. He's unbelievable. And he said, "You never let me coach you, dude." And I was like, well, yeah, I don't hire coaches. And he said, "Well, just tell me what your goals are." And I said, "I only have one." And he's like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "No, I really only have one goal." And I said, "I want to get a TED Talk." And he said, "Oh my God, I talked to this guy 7 years ago who's a PR agent in Northern Ireland. Let's see if he can give you some advice." Whatever, man, I'm game. Let's go. So that was a Thursday morning. By Friday, I already had a call with the guy in Northern Ireland. He looked at my TikTok channel and he was like, "Whoa, dude, like, you're pretty entertaining. This is interesting." He's like, "You're in." He's like, "I've got a seat for you at the 2nd largest TED convention in Swansea, which is in the UK. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." And he goes, well, I didn't even tell you how much it's going to cost. I was like, I don't care. I'll find the money. And he's like, damn, now that's the right attitude.
Hey man,
so,
Richard Branson, when opportunity shows up, say yes and figure it out later.
Yep, I'll figure money out. Right.
Yep.
Take a damn loan. I don't care. Right. But because this was my goal. And it's a process, man. Like, I speak a lot. Right.
Well, you told me before we came on the show that you had someone look at your body language and stuff like that. Any insights you can give us from what you learned there?
Oh,
from a speaking standpoint?
Yes. Holy crap. So number one, it's so important what you're doing with your hands, man. And I never really deconstructed that much. And she said to me, so I had to submit videos to her, and then she gave me feedback, and I sent her other videos. Her name is Roxani. She lives in Greece. It all of the sudden, like, I just started really paying attention to what I was doing with my hands, like, trying not to do things like this. And for those of you who are listening, I'm like basically pushing you away. A lot of people have that open hand. You want to always be bringing things in. You don't want to be steepling, which a lot of us do when we're talking, because we think it makes you look arrogant and cocky.
Yeah.
Right? There's all of these little things. But the other thing which made me really happy, which is actually in my book, was space. And you only have, now at Swansea, you have 18 minutes. My speech is 12 and a half. Door to door is what I've been practicing. Trying to build space into 12 minutes. So Luke, I know you know this, and Josh, you know this. You say, hey, Matt, I need you to go give a 2-hour presentation on podcasting.
No problem.
I do that now. Let's go. Matt, you have 12 minutes. I've been preparing for this for 3 months. Right? Because
that is my fundamental issue. I have too much to share.
We tried to do a webinar for 20 minutes.
So hard. We hit 21, and I then went on for another 10 minutes after the fact. Just
literally,
barely getting, like, feeling like I barely scratched the surface. Like, you are so right, man. It's like, to be a master, you got to be able to deliver it in 12 minutes with space. That's the thing that, you're hitting me right in the gut with that one. I don't give space. And
you should read my book.
I should, dude, because it kills me, because I think I lose emotional connection at that point, or impact,
so
because
the problem
I don't give space.
Is when you don't provide space, you're talking at, not with. And that's a really big philosophical shift. And in fact, it's really funny because I do this, and I do all the sales for ProudMouth, right? And so, I'm talking to people almost every day, all day, and they're always surprised when I'm not like, ProudMouth's a great, I don't do that. I do it by asking questions and listening and finding my opening that most of us are trying to buy my product. Man, that people just don't like that much anymore. So,
they don't. Yeah, I agree with you. What you just said is so powerful, because it is how I opened up where I think our struggle is of not buying or getting a tribe, which is we're not connecting with people. And it's probably because we are trying to teach. We're not giving any space. So it feels like we're talking at, not with, where if you give space, it's talking with. Now, podcast is tricky because
you got to say something.
Well, there's nobody else on this, right? But you can let things sink in.
Yes. But you also, so we have something at ProudMouth called the perfect content formula. It's storytelling, education, entertainment, call to action. Every one of your shows needs to have those 4 things. And if you have, in what I think you guys need to be doing more of, is telling stories. People see themselves in stories. They feel that connection. And when you're in storytelling mode, which is really what my whole TED Talk is, it's 3 very distinct stories of hope, helping one person every day. One of them's when I was in the Navy. And then the other 2 was when my wife and I worked at a place called Boys Town with at-risk teenage kids. And so they're very emotionally charged stories. And when I did it in front of my friends, and I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like, I can be up in front of 1,000 people. I'm not nervous at all. I did my TED Talk in front of 18 people. It was the first time my wife ever heard me speak, because why would she hear me speak? I'm in financial services, right? I speak on the road. I don't do it at home, right? My son was there, right, with his partner. My neighbors were there. Guys I play miniatures with, which is a totally other story. They were there, right? My in-laws were there. I had
people
18
that you
people.
care about.
Oh my God. I was so nervous, dude. But it was wonderful because it was the opportunity. I needed to have that really heightened stress.
That rush.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I could do the speech for you right now and it would be 12 and a half minutes.
That's awesome.
Right. And so, but hope, right? Help one person every day. It is very, very hippie. It's very, very touchy feely. So as you continue to grow your individual brand, which what you're doing with your content marketing strategy, there has to be a bifurcation. Who I am I am the podcasting expert. I am a nerd about podcasting, guys. You have no idea. I can deconstruct your show within 5 to 7 minutes and make you 10 times better after that 5 to 7 minutes. This is what I love, right? But I'm also wildly passionate about being a hippie and making the world a better place and spreading magic, joy, and love and hope into the world. And so they aren't opposing. What happens is, as ProudMouth's brand increases, my brand increases. As my brand increases, ProudMouth's brand increases. And that's a core chapter in that book, Fix by Rob Howard, that I really believe is really, really important. So Luke, you, whatever your you-ness is, right? The Luke-ness or the Josh-ness has to come out in this show more and more. And when that happens, everything changes.
Dude, this has been awesome. Like, I mean, such good advice, because it's exactly where we're at. We're at this kind of transition point. And it's funny, we have a new format of our show coming out that I am so excited about. It will be out, by the time this is released. But it's a little bit of a model after the Dave Ramsey show, Entree Leadership, and Dave Ramsey show and his shows, where it's a call-in show, where 2 of our episodes a month are going to be call-ins, where we have clients and agents and business owners calling in from all over the country, giving us their biggest problems. But the reason why I share that is, 1, super excited about the show, but 2 is because Josh and I have literally gotten off and gone, we have to bring more of our stories into the teaching, because that is what Dave does so well. Dave Ramsey, when he's giving people advice, he shares what he did at Ramsey Solutions, and it just brings it all together because you feel connected. And we're, instead of just teaching someone, which is what we've done on kind of maybe the first 4 or 5 episodes we've done, and, we got to start bringing in more stories. And that only happens as if you are your you-ness, as you said, the Luke-ness, which is a scary place, ladies and gentlemen. That Luke-ness, get ready.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Matt, final question, because we have the bald in common. We also have the beard. When did you finally go, give up and let it go all white? Because I'm working on it,
Well,
this is the Joshness, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wondering,
fantastic. So Josh, when I partnered with Kirk Lowe and we built ProudMouth, I lost all color. I mean,
that stress, man. Kirk brought it on.
Yeah. It's been wonderfully successful. I mean, we have 30 people on our team. We're a very large organization.
Just amazing.
We're doing anywhere from 100 to 150 episodes a month now.
Do you remember where you were at when I came on the show?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's crazy.
It was brutal.
That's nuts,
150 episodes per. You said over 10,000 at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, insane.
But 30 team members, jeez, man, you guys are crushing it. I'm just proud of you, brother.
How can people learn more about it?
So there's a couple of different things, and here's the again, Stay Paid podcast. I'm in business and I want to stay paid. So number 1, I want all of your audience actually to do something very, very specific, which is to go to podrocket.academy. So we built an entire learning management system based off adult learning and gamification for you to actually learn how to do what we do at ProudMouth entirely on your own. You not only take this thing called the influence readiness test, which will show you your actual gaps on what we've been talking about, this how to build influence and how to make that go even better. You get a custom score, and then you get a tailored plan on podcasts and courses and worksheets in order for you to bridge the gaps. It's only $99 a month. Please, dear God, join it. Plus, you get 8 hours. This is where the value goes nuts. So 8 hours of live coaching per month for $100. Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you even afford to do that?
We're really good at this.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I want to put that up, Steve. Maybe we can have Dawson splice that to the front of the episode, because that's so much value right there. I'll have to get it in even earlier for people to hear. Wow, amazing.
Awesome.
So that's really, and so when we were talking about me coming on the show, I mean, my ultimate goal was to really talk to everybody about influence. Listen, influence marketing is the only marketing that's left that works. You have to understand that you have to start creating organic, real content. Video is king. Podcasting is queen. That's the world we live in today. So here's my last piece of quick advice. Are you ready? This is like super high tech. I just got out of a client meeting and this is what happened. So for those of you who are listening, I'm holding up my phone to show you that you need to be creating content like this. Now, from a compliance standpoint, if you have a compliance oversight, it's not going to be a problem. I'm not sharing client information. I'm not giving investment or insurance advice. I'm just talking about the experience of what I just experienced with a client. That content is king. Post it everywhere. Make sure you know where your ideal target market in. By the way, it might not be LinkedIn. It might be Instagram. It might be Pinterest. You have to do the research. But that's what you need to do. And that's where all of the fun begins. And that's where you're really going to start, not just growing your business, but growing your influence.
You're so spot on, because influence is everything, because knowledge is going to be free. So it already is with ChatGPT and AI. It's just like, so now it's going to be about, where do I trust to get my knowledge? And that's influence. Like, who do I trust the most to get my knowledge from? So spot on, brother.
Love it, Matt. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank all of you for listening. You can get all of those links that Matt mentioned in one place over at staypaidpodcast.com, where you can get the show notes and the video of these episodes. Of course, you can check the show notes anywhere you're listening to this as well. We'll include those things. If you like this episode and want to show your support, head on over to YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/remindermedia. Give this video a thumbs up, leave us a comment, and we will make sure to share it here on the show. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on social media. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Josh Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Man, Matt, so awesome to see what you have done and what you are doing, man. Just incredible. I remember years ago being on your show very early on, and you're the real deal, man. I mean, you've done thousands and thousands of these, and you've built a successful business. Congrats on the TED Talk. I'm sure it will do extremely well. Make sure you get it to us so we can promote it for you and help you get some views on it. My action item for everybody listening to this is, you know that you should be producing the content that Matt said. You know you should be doing that, and you're probably not doing it at the level you need to do it. And I want you to commit to at least putting out one piece of content a day for the next 7 days. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.